The Time Displace function found within the Arrange folder of our Functions tab allows us to create an offset of animations. So in order to demonstrate this, we'll need to set up a little scene here. And let's go back into our primitives and drag a circle down here. Now I'm going to be able to see this a little bit better, so I'm going to go into the image and drag an image on it. And let's change this image to reflection. We'll also want to be able to see the back side of this circle as we rotate it. So I'm going to go back into my functions, into my global folder, and add an extrude function. This way, when we do rotate it, we'll be able to see the back side. Since it is a circle and a 2D object, when you normally do not have the extrude function, it's a 2D object and you would not see the back side. So let's set a rotation animation on this. First, I'm just going to set or rewind my timeline to 0, and I have my rotation at 0. I'm going to hit set key. Then I'm going to rotate this 1 or 360 degrees and set key, and when we hit play we have a rotation here. Now what I want to do is copy this, let's say 20 times, so I could do it manually by holding down Control and clicking, or I can use another function here under container. I can use the Cocoa. So if I drag the Cocoa onto our circle container and go into the Cocoa editor, I can say number of copies here. I want to do 20, and I'm just going to leave all these settings to default. I'm going to say execute, and what it will do is create 20 copies of my container. You can see that it actually named them and numbered them as well. Once I'm done with this Cocoa, I actually don't need it anymore. I'm going to drag that to the trash can. Now that I have all my containers here, what I'm going to do is hold down Shift, select the first one, and go down to the last one and click so that they're all highlighted. Now that they're all highlighted, I'm going to come up and group them all by selecting the group button, and it groups them all together. Now what I want to do is kind of spread these out into a grid-like sequence. So I'm going to use the grid arrange, and I'm going to go into my arrange folder here within my functions tab. I'm going to drag my grid arrange function onto my topmost group. And since we have 20 copies, we will say, how about number of rows? We'll do 4, and number of columns 5. That equals 20. So what I'm going to do is just spread this out so that we can see space in between each one of these. I'm going to come into my transform axis and reposition this. Maybe I'll just scale this down a little bit, something like that. Now once I'm done with my grid arrange, I don't need it anymore, so I'm going to drag that to the trash. If we hit play, we basically have 20 circles that rotate around at the same time. Now I want to create a variation of this animation so that some of my rotations are offset. I'm going to use this time displace to do that, and since I have everything in a group here, I'm going to drag my time displace onto the topmost group. I'm going to click on my time displace to go into the editor. First thing that we have in our time displace plugin is this image box, which is blank by default. It's waiting for some type of black and white image, which creates an offset in the animation. So any type of image here that has a strong variation between black and white or grayscale we can use. So let's try something like this star, and I'm just going to drag that right into there. And at the very bottom there is a setting here for execute. I'm going to click on that execute, and once I hit play, you can see how it created this variation in animation. Now we have a couple different settings. So if we wanted to change the image width or image height, it's talking about the image of the star, so that will change it. So we also have references. So how do you want it to reference this scene? Is it by the containers in the tree or by name of containers? We can search particular containers and have it offset those containers. We can also say what is your stage range. We have it set to 60 by default, but we can adjust these, and we can say how much would you like it to offset. We can also adjust this here. We have other search and filter strings that we can choose. So once you make any changes between these, we can hit execute, and once we hit play, you can see the resulting changes within the scene.